How is this different or similar to, let's say, like the 1950s style household relationship, where the man is in charge and he's in charge of the money and how much money his female partner has, et cetera, et cetera?
In a lot of ways, it is similar. I mean, we use the terms slave. Slave is the big booger word because it's the truth of it is it's not legal to keep slaves in the United States of America anymore. So this is a term that really defines the way she personally feels, as opposed to some entity, crushing it down. So in a lot of ways, the 1950s family structure was, for all intents and purposes, a master-slave relationship wherein the female was precluded on a lot of rights. In 1955, you couldn't own property. If you were a single woman, you couldn't own a business. No credit cards for you when they kicked in. This went on until the late 70s. When my father died in 78, my mom had to hold on to his credit cards and hide the fact that he died from the credit card companies, else she would lose them all. It took years for her to get her own credit cards after that. That was in 1978. So, as people shake their heads and go, how horrible. What's horrible about that, it wasn't consensual. And it wasn't fair to women. This is consensual, and she prefers to have that level of control in her life. So, there's no harm, no foul.
That's not horrible at all.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's hot. I wish some things were still like that. Right down to
That's
the
how
back.
she signed. That's how she signs like her own credit card and stuff. She'll sign it Mrs. My first and last name. She just likes that, and I love it too.
Yeah, and I did not know that was something that most people didn't do, because that's how my mother always did it. She signed it Mrs. MRS, her name, and then the last name. And I just thought it was great, so I continued to do it, and I still to this day do it. So.
Yeah, and I don't know. I won't deny that in 1950s and previous to that, there wasn't weird kinky sex going on. There certainly was, but that's not generally how we tend to think of 1950s relationships. We think of Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore, separate beds. So the other aspect of our relationship is the kinkier things, the S&M. Although she's not a masochist. So we were just talking the other day how only really 2 of the letters of BDSM really apply to us, and that's the D and the S. Discipline is in place, and I'm a sadist. But bondage is not something that we pursue. It's just not our kink. And she's not a masochist, so the B and the M are out of it.
I mean, the most we apply bondage to is that I wear, and if you look at it, I mean, I show signs of being bonded. I have permanent
She's permanently cuffed
on my hands and ankles, and I wear locks on my arms and on my neck. So I do wear a lot of things that look like, well, she's locked up. But we're not into the part of bondage of rope and tying up and not letting you get out and stuff like that.
I like you guys anyway, but I don't understand.
But back to the word slavery. For me, it really is. One day, I knew I couldn't live without him. Or I chose to not want to live without him. Like, I just do not want to imagine my life without him. And when I started to think about that, I started to realize how enslaved I felt to him. It really was that. I was already enslaved to him. So if I looked at it in that aspect, I realized I was truly his slave. He could do anything, that I would trust him, and we grow from there. So at that point, when I realized that, I knew I was his slave, and I never looked back from that moment on.
Now, what would and I'd like to hear both of your perspectives on this. If I throw out the feminist card, from like a third wave feminist point, none of this is really an issue, because that's a version of feminism that allows for women to make their own sexual choices and their own sexual identities and that kind of thing.
Including complete submission.
Exactly. And I was very much a feminist. And what I said was, well, I have the right to make this choice. And this is the choice that's right for me. So who's to judge it? It really doesn't matter to me because it's my choice, and any feminist should understand that.
Yeah.
So, what was your question about that third version,
well,
or how do we
about
deal
that,
with
or
the
how
other
do you
two
deal
versions?
with the other versions as well of the feminists who were saying, are you kidding me? This is what we've been working against for eons
Yeah,
now.
I would immediately say what you've really been working for, the right of women to make their own choices, and that ends the argument as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
If you do not believe women have the right to make their own choices, then you have a different agenda than feminism.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of it, I would say, is equal work, equal pay for equal work, equal rights. For me, feminism is how the social fabric treats women apart from their gender or their physical attributes.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with their civil rights as citizens of this particular social model, and there should be equal rights across the board. But the other part of it, no, if they dictate how she's supposed to behave and how she's supposed to act, then they're betraying their own cause.
And I think there's even something bigger to look at, and that is that I don't know what people's visions are of what a master-slave relationship is, but in our master-slave relationship, equal parts of work go into this relationship. It's not like I do all the work and he doesn't. I don't just surrender everything I am and he does nothing. He works equally, 50% equally as hard as I do. So I guess how could that not be exactly what they're trying to get us to do? To equally, we're equally working at a job. That's what you would do at any factory. That's what you would do at any, restaurant.
We both contribute to the house.
We
Yes.
both contribute.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, the difference is that she hands her check over to me. Now, this is a protocol, and that's really all it is, because she actually handles all the finances. I've given her the job of handling all the finances. But the protocol is the money is turned over to me. And once it's turned over to me, I decide what to do with it. Guess what I decide what to do with it? I decide to give it back to her so she can deal with the finances, because that's her. She has a strength in that. And so that really is what it boils down to on a practical day-to-day basis. She defers to me to make the decisions. That's it. That's really all that matters.
It's quite pleasurable to get my check every other Friday, and I'm really excited about it, am I? I got my check today. Guess how much I made? And here you go, master. Here's my check. And I sign it, or give it to him, and he does the deposit in the bank. And I feel so good that I could do that and literally trust this individual that I'm signing over, thousands of dollars to some weeks. I'm so proud that I have a relationship that allows me to feel that way.
So we were talking about how, how good this feels for you to hand over your paycheck and feel like that you've contributed, and that you're proud of this. This is like a kid bringing their homework home.
It feels
You got
just
an A+ on it, and I'm
Mhm.
giving this over and
With the gold star.
refrigerator. Yeah, you've got the gold star.
Yeah.
And
But I
you're
equally
receiving
feel that
praise.
way even when I go out and complete everything he's asked me to do in that day. I feel the exact same, happiness that I get from giving him the paycheck. He gives me the list, I get it done, I try to do it to the best of my ability, and then some. And then I feel like I got the big gold star too, and I don't even have to let him know I've done it. He already knows. He's already looking and checking. So it feels good.
So then, what do you get from this? What makes this feel good to you?
I know that I have somebody that I can really rely on. The thing of it is, all the things that I give her to do, I have done myself. And I've done it when I was no longer, when I was not in any kind of relationship. I paid my own bills and made my own bed and lunch and all that other stuff. Really, what it gives to me is a sense of satisfaction that this person cares enough and trusts me enough. And I think if I get, and this is very personal to our specific situation, but she's had a very difficult life wherein trust was her big issue. The walls were built around her to preclude people harming her. And I have been able to smooth out that. Well, I can't say I didn't tear them down, although she knocked a lot of them down because I proved myself to be trustworthy to her. But But to me, the biggest satisfaction I get is that this person has felt that she could do this for me. I feel honored by that. And that's an incredible feeling. I've never had it anywhere else. I've always felt somewhat taken for granted in relationships, and I do not feel taken for granted in this one.
So it sounds like to me that really the key aspect of this relationship is a deep, profound level of trust. That this takes a lot of trust.
And we're both service-oriented people. We are powerfully driven to serve either our community or the relationship or the principles. This is how we fulfill our purpose as human beings. This gives us satisfaction.
The big draw is that he's very aware of how I need to be of service. So he's creative, and he knows that he can do these things by himself, and I know he can do these things by himself. But he feels my need to be of service by allowing me to do them and creating them for me so that I'm feeling balanced and at my core and happy in my relationship. If I wasn't with somebody who would allow me to do those things or could find things for me to do to fill that service need, I wouldn't be very happy.
So then how does this translate into the two of you being Master Slave of the Year? You've got this personal dynamic and this very intimate, trusting relationship. How did that then translate to this community title?
Well, we are master slave of a region. That's the southwestern region of the country. So we competed for a title. And what we did was we went there and we represented our dynamic, our style of master and slave relationships, because everybody's is different. And we went into a contest mode where we had to give speeches, and we were interviewed on our relationship and how we would handle different things, what value we had to our community, what we had to offer, and we just honestly represented who we are as you see us right now. And the judging panel, I believe 7 from various parts of the United States, came and felt that we would be a great representative for the Southwest Leather Conference region for 2011.
Yeah.
And we won. And then we actively went out, and we still do, nationally last year, 11, and really worked hard at sharing this dynamic and reaching out to people and touching amazing lives and them touching ours. So it's been powerful for us as well.
We think that that this relationship really represents a healthy kind of relationship for people who are inclined towards this way. We've both had vanilla relationships previous to this, and there just wasn't the same sense of fulfillment in those. And I've never worked harder on a relationship than I do on this one. I work on it all the time, and I love it. It's they say do what you love, and so I'm doing what I love, and with who I love. It happens to include somebody who I love as well. And so when both of us go out and teach, that's probably the message that's most strong. I mean, we're giving away techniques and our experiences and so on, and hopefully in an embracing and entertaining way. But the message that we're trying to deliver is that you can have this incredibly beautiful dynamic, and but in order to have it, you're going to have to scale some mountains and work really hard. And that we took that kind of drive to the contest. We wanted to show people, and really that's what the title gives you. What you give the title is your time and skills and talent, if you have any, and your ability to speak publicly and so on and so forth. But what the title gives you is the opportunity to meet with people that you can share this relationship with and show them how it could be, and that it's a positive one. And that's priceless to me.